That Brad Dourif is a great actor is not in doubt. He's been working at a high level for over 45 years, crafting indelible performances for some of the greatest filmmakers who've ever swung a camera.
The New York fucking Times is talking about my searing original talent.
His choices have ranged from historical epics to intimate dramas, with plenty of genre thrown in. It's ironic that a man best known as the voice of a demonic doll has one of the most expressive faces I've ever seen in film.
You stupid bitch, you filthy slut!
Dourif plays a lot of characters in extremis. His choices are rarely safe, friendly people. More often than not, he's a killer or some other human monster, guys you have no interest in meeting in real life. But every now and then you find a frail, wounded, and vulnerable person, bearing a recognizable face. There's a consistent methodology to his choices if you look closer. You see a through line in Brad Dourif's performances. Pain. My theory is that he's a polymath of torment, harnessing every urge of suffering to build searing portrayals of men on the edge.
I'm gonna do some things I ain't never done before.
There isn't much in terms of interviews where Brad Dourif talks about his technique as an actor.
I've been an actor since I was, I guess, 16. I did summer stock, and then when I was 19, I went to New York and worked at Circle Rep, and stayed there till I did Cuckoo's Nest.
Brad's very much a method actor. He had to do this English accent, this sort of worm-tonguish voice, and I never heard him talk in his real voice, ever, because he would just not get out of character. So he was basically worm-tongue. We were like having breakfast and lunch with worm-tongue.
I try to find something that I can hang on to, somebody I had seen, or some way of moving, or something that I can really hang on to.
He was born in Huntington, West Virginia in 1950, and dropped out of Marshall University to move to New York on the advice of another Huntington product, Conchata Ferrell.
I found Brad, but I went backstage and went, "What are you doing here?" And he went, "I'm wasting my time." That was in April, and the following September I got a phone call, and he said, "Chetty, this is Brad Dourif, do you remember me?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, I'm in New York and I need a place to stay."
After being cut out of the Burt Reynolds movie WW and the Dixie Dance Kings, Dourif made his feature debut in '75 in Milos Forman's legendary One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Adding to a cast stacked with hungry and largely unknown young actors, Forman cast Dourif as the stuttering naïve Billy Bibbit and directed him to a Best Supporting Actor Oscar nomination. Sharing the screen with Oscar winners Jack Nicholson and Louise Fletcher, Dourif manages to stand out and steal scenes as the ill-fated mental patient.
Mac, you can't get out of here. Anybody want to bet?
Here's where I make my case for his technique. For Billy's climactic turn at the end of the film, Dourif needs to make plausible that Billy's so fragile, the correct shove would drive him to self-harm. Billy is discomfited as Nurse Ratched threatens to tell his mother all about the bad behavior he's engaged in under the influence of Randall McMurphy.
Aren't you ashamed?
No, I'm not.
You know, Billy, what worries me is how your mother's going to take this.
Dourif draws on hurt to render the terror Billy feels equal to the sun being eclipsed.
Put Billy in Dr. Scobie's office.
No.
Stay with him till the doctor arrives.
No.
Move it! Come on, Martin, get on!
No.
This is the scene which earned Dourif that Academy Award recognition, as well as a Golden Globe and a BAFTA award. It's one hell of a way to start a career, right? Rather than relocate to Los Angeles after his great debut success in Cuckoo's Nest, he opted to remain in New York, where he felt comfortable.
I was a member of Circle Repertory Theater at that time. I was working with Marshall Mason and Langford Wilson, who ran that theater, and they were way more talented and way smarter than anybody else I'd Hollywood.
His own theory is that LA might have given him a different kind of career, but he wouldn't have been in control of its trajectory.
You and Milos, you are friends, in fact, and colleagues, because you both teach at Columbia University. So, if I understand you correctly, it helps you to act, to teach it to other people.
Keeps you sharp. I mean,
watching other people work is always good.
I was teaching at Columbia University. I was teaching a course called Directing Actors. I was teaching a course on directing. All my students were all in love with David Lynch, who I had never even heard of.
But like everything else in this essay series, this is a personal topic. Brad Dourif is one of the first character actors I noticed when I discovered that concept. Cuckoo's Nest came out the year I was born, and he's been a consistent and welcome presence since I started paying attention to movies. However, he sunk his hooks into me with Piter de Vries in Dune, which I saw theatrically in '84.
It is by will alone I set my mind in motion. It is by the juice of Safu that thoughts acquire speed, the lips acquire stains, the stains become a warning. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion.
David Lynch's sci-fi magnum opus has remained one of the most important films in my life, not least of all because of Dourif's note-perfect creation of the amoral Mentat assassin.
Go quietly. No other great house of the Landsdraad must ever know of the Emperor's aid to the Baron.
As with Cuckoo's Nest, the cast was stocked with a who's who of acting titans, but Dourif more than punches his weight with a well-designed portrayal of someone not quite human. As his genre roles go, this one follows him around to the conventions, ranking only behind Chucky in terms of fan enthusiasm.
Your choices with your hands, it was almost like sign language.
It was.
Oh, was it? Was
I invented it, yeah.
Watch as Piter de Vries murders Dean Stockwell's traitor, Dr. Wellington Huey. The admonition Huey issues with the poison knife still in his back is not lost on de Vries.
You think you've defeated me?
It's a warning of a counter-scheme outside de Vries' infernal purview. I love how Dourif registers the shock and suspicion after slaying the doctor. It's an affront to de Vries' plotting. How dare someone attempt to outmaneuver him? This look, this moment, it's everything I love about Dourif's style. Looking at his filmography, the man was in a very Easy Riders Raging Bulls influenced lane until the end of the 1980s, when he started to focus mainly on genre work, most famously with Child's Play. Not coincidentally, this is when he actually did move to Los Angeles in 1988.
You know, I did spend a part of my life being an artist. And then Fiona was born, and I looked at her, little kid, asleep in the bed, and I went, now I'm a whore.
The genre stuff has been great for him in terms of cultivating fans and drawing a paycheck, but it doesn't offer him as much room to move around in as like a ragtime does.
What do you want?
Well, I want, if you have an evening free, I know you're very busy, but if you do have a evening free and you would like to go, I would very much like to escort you to something.
This isn't to say that Dourif didn't continue to reach new heights after that. He does go on to work with Alan Parker and Werner Herzog, among others, with a stop-off at his first recurring television role on the stellar Deadwood as the Sawbones, Doc Cochran.
All bleeding stops eventually.
Now, I think I'll let Brad Dourif's work speak for itself. I've curated a series of my favorite moments from his career, which I think demonstrate the theory that he builds character from pain outward. If, as modern therapy says, sadness generates secondary emotions like anger, loathing, shame, rage, suffering, and so on, I think he supplied plenty of evidence over 45 years to support this thesis. Watch his eyes popped in disbelief and rage. Watch his mouth pulled tight in fury. Watch his body lean and tense. Listen to his constricted laughter. Issued defensively. His men are covering up for a chasm in their centers, trying to distract you from observing their weakness, exposing vulnerability they never mean to admit.
So Bill Scurry wants to ask you, he has a question. Can you talk about the acting process and how you make decisions about a character?
It's an impossible question to answer because it's never the same.
We found something that we think belongs to you. It's a playing card. It's from your deck, I believe, and it was in the elevator with Donald's body.
Next thing you know, you're sneaking out the back door of a bar. What bar? You know what you had to drink?
No.
You drink a lot?
No.
Are you drunk, Dell?
No.
You know the bartender's name?
Wait a minute! Wait.
Tommy, if there's any kind of lapse in your memory, if there's anything you can't remember, it's very important that we discover together.
You're trying to put me in fucking Bellevue.
You know, I studied and we did workshops and we did Alone in My Rooms and, you know, writing backstory and all of that stuff.
Mr. Moats, that wire. What's that wire around you for? What do you do these things for?
To pay.
Pay? Pay for what? What do you do it for?
I ain't clean.
You got blood on that shirt.
You can't see.
I kind of discovered sometimes if I put things in my pocket that are the character, that I have stories about that are the character, then I can always put my hands in my pocket and feel the thing.
Nothing happened. And the kid was just, so nice to me. Willie, you don't understand. And I can't explain to you what it does to me.
What does what to you?
Things just happen, you know? Just like that. I mean, you walk down the street and you see a kid.
You get outside yourself. Once you have a character, then it's about the other people. The things that I remember the most favorite are really the ensemble that I'm working with, you know, the cast and kind of what happens.
This is tricky. They make it look so easy, don't they? On the night of the murders, you made a short speech as the bulldozer buried the kids in the dam. How does Lester tell it? Mississippi would be proud of you. You've struck a blow for the white man. Is that what you said, Clinton? Get out there. You got a stupid smile, you know that, pal. Can you see it? Huh? Go on. You smile when the bulldozer ran over the black kid's body? Get here! Get here! Make no mistake about it, Deputy. I'll cut your fucking head clear off and not give a shit how it reads in the report sheet.
Science fiction is about the world. In order to be comfortable in the environment and a part of the environment, you have to create a story about it.
A 3-foot catheter threaded directly into the inferior vena cava, or the superior vena cava. It's a matter of taste, I think, don't you? Then the tube moves through the vein under the crease of the arm into the vein that leads directly into the heart, and then you just hold up the legs and you squeeze the blood manually into the tube from the arms and the legs. There's a little shaking and pounding at the end for the dregs. It isn't perfect. There's a little blood left, I'm afraid. But regardless, the overall effect is astonishing. And isn't that really what counts in the end? Yes, of course. Good showbiz, Lieutenant, the effect. And then off comes the head without spilling one single drop of blood. Now, I call that showmanship, Lieutenant.
I study and I'll read books. Rarely does that help. It's just to keep me going while something knocks me in the head and I go, oh, God, I'm an idiot. And that's it.
Just please, God, take that minister. What conceivable godly use is his protracted suffering to you? What conceivable godly use? What conceivable godly use was the screaming of all those men? Did you need to hear their death agonies to know your omnipotence? It hurts so bad. It hurts so bad. Admitting my understanding's imperfection, trusting that you have a purpose, praying that you consider it served. I beg you to relent. Thy will be done. Amen.
The finest in men's neckwear since 1982.